Hello, BookTube. A nice, healthy mail haul to get through today. So let's get right to it and see what gems await. Start with this one here. Who knows what will be in on this as we gear up for the weekend. So this is a finished copy of something. Oh, great. Okay, we've seen this before. Great. This is due at the end of the month. This is The Rise of Rome by Catherine Lomas. From the Iron Age to the Punic Wars. We saw that before. Sounds promising. Still haven't got to it myself, I must admit. This one feels like another finished copy. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, we saw this as well. And this has only intrigued me. I also haven't got to this. Terrible, because this is a February book, yeah. But the subject has intrigued me the more I thought about it. This is due in the end of the month. This is David Engerman's The Price of Aid. In the finished copy with raised letters on the spine. Very nice. Let's see what the next one is here. Oh, the next one's two. Oh, goodness gracious. What have we got? Oh, wonderful. Okay. All right. This is an advanced copy of a book that comes out in July. It's by Thor Hansen, and it's called Buzz. The subtitle is The Nature and Necessity of Bees. Bees are like oxygen, ubiquitous, essential, and for the most part unseen. While we might overlook them, they lie at the heart of the relationship that binds the human and natural world. And this is going to be all about that. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. This is from Basic Books, and this has not only photographs, but illustrations. Wow. And also a huge amount of research notes. Fantastic. Okay, this is going to be serious. I thought when I first got a glimpse of it, I thought it was going to be sort of one of those anecdotal, gee, aren't bees great type books. But no, this is going to be the real thing. Wonderful. Okay, I will report back. And then the next one is, oh, great. Okay. This comes out in May. I'm very much looking forward to it. This is Serhild Proki's big new history of Chernobyl. What happened, why it happened, and what happened afterwards. Just a big new history of Chernobyl by a great living historian. Fantastic. Wonderful. Okay. I have read books on Chernobyl, but I'm always up to read a new one. Fantastic. Okay. Great. Wow. Okay. Right, so that had two and two winners. What is next here? Okay, didn't request this thing. This is a paperback that comes out in March by Galen Strawson called Things That Bother Me, with the subtitle being Death, Freedom, the Self, etc. It looks like a collection of essays. Galen Strawson might be described as the Montaigne of modern philosophers. Big shoes to fill. Endlessly curious, enormously erudite, unafraid of strange, difficult, or provocative positions, and able to describe them clearly. In other words, he is a true essayist. Huh. Okay. And it looks like what the cover description says that, first of all, it has a blurb from Ian McEwan saying that Galen Strawson is one of the cleverest men alive. But it also has a neat little detail here that I didn't know, which is that one of his essays collected in this volume, A Fallacy of Our Age, was the inspiration for Vendela Vida's novel Let the Northern Lights Erase Your Name, which I really liked. How an essay could be an inspiration for a novel, it makes me fascinated to read it right now. I don't think I've ever read anything by this person. Okay, fantastic. So a collection of essays, Things That Bother Me, due in March. Great. Where am I going to put these things? Here, let's start a tentative collection right there. Because we've got a long way to go. So I'm going to try and be brief with these so that this video doesn't last forever. Let's see what this next one is. Oh, goodness. Oh, my. Okay. This is... do we have a pub sheet on this? No? This is Adjustment Day by Chuck Palahniuk, the new Chuck Palahniuk. I am sure that there are Chuck Palahniuk fans watching this video. Feel free to let me know if you want to try your hand at reviewing this. I admit freely, I am not the best reviewer for him. Someone who's read his work well and can write with the scrutinizing eye of a fan is probably more of what I want to run a review for Open Letters Review. So that's this Adjustment Day. That's going to be everywhere. Let's see. Let's see what the next one is here. Of course, that's an undercurrent to all of these mail haul videos. Is that if you see something you want to review, let me know and I'll help you. Okay, great, fantastic. This is by William Klaber and Philip Melanson. This is an updated edition of Shadowplay, their study of the RFK assassination, which came out originally years and years ago, 1997, and this has been updated with new material. And I read the 97 one, of course, and it's pretty darn thought provoking. It's meant to upend your certainties about the RFK assassination, and it does. So, great to have an updated copy. Did I mention when this came out? This was out in April. I will certainly review it. We got this thing. It's heavy. Could be a finished copy. Something. It is a finished copy of something. Okay. Let's see here. I didn't request this. This comes out at the end of the month. This is Chefs, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. That's a great title. That's actually a great cover, too. The 80s rules. How food lovers, free spirits, misfits, and wanderers created a new American profession by Andrew Friedman, who has chronicled the life and work of some of the best of American chefs. He's the author of Knives at Dawn, America's Quest for Culinary Glory at the Bocuse d'Or, the world's most prestigious cooking competition, and co-editor of the internationally popular anthology Don't Try This at Home. Okay. All right. So he knows his subject really well, and this is the history. That actually sounds fascinating. I would never in a million years have pointed this on my own, but that's why I love it when publicists think of me, because this sounds like something that might be really, really good. I don't have that much time, so I should probably bump this up on the rotation. Chefs, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Let's move on here. I don't think I mentioned it, but this whole thing ends with a box. The box is big, but it's as light as a feather. It could easily be one mass-market paperback. Okay. All right, great. So this comes out in May. It's going to be a hardcover. And it is by Martine Reed. It's a new biography of Georges Sand, whose life is so utterly fascinating that I'm amazed there aren't 10 biographies a year. Great. And the author is a professor of French language and literature, and the editor of several critical editions of Sand's work. So she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what her subject is. Oh God, the print is so small. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So this is translated. Yes, this must be translated. Yes, translated with introduction by Gretchen Van Sly, or Sly, or Slyke, or Slyke. Slyke? Great. Fantastic. I wonder what the finished copy will look like. It's a great story, though, and I don't know it well enough, which is what I love. I love when I get a biography of somebody, and I know something about their life, but I don't know where. I know for sure that I know little enough so that a new and like this one, scrupulous biography is going to have lots to interest me. That's a great feeling. Because it is, as you all know, my favorite genre. And so far, 2018 has been a little weak on Steve's favorite genre, so it's great to see something like that. All right, so what have we got here? This is from Harvard. This comes out in this month, and it is a finished copy by Richard Fallon of Law and Legitimacy in the Supreme Court. So what is it that we do with Supreme Court books? What's the first thing that we do? We go to the index, and we look under T. William Howard Taft is not in here, but Clarence Thomas is. So this is going to be a study of the Supreme Court. Why do self-proclaimed constitutional originalists so regularly reach decisions with a politically conservative valence? Do living constitutionalists claim a license to reach whatever results they prefer without regard to the Constitution's language and history? In confronting these questions, Richard Fallon reframes and ultimately transcends familiar debates about constitutional law, constitutional theory, and judicial legitimacy. I love it. I love it. I'm one of a small group of friends of mine who I am a Supreme Court junkie. I read their decisions. I read their obiter dicta. I read all about them, and I read tons of books on them. this, I did not even know this was coming, and it's right in my sweet spot. So that's fantastic. I can forgive it for leaving out the Chief Justice because he was 100 years ago. So let's see what this next one is. We're approaching the end here, and it's amazing. This is a huge number of books, and it's been a short video. This also feels like a finished copy. What? Oh no! Oh no! Okay. All right. Somebody got their wires crossed. This is a second copy of The Price of Aid and finished copy. And then we've got cardboard. So we've got one of these vacuum press things, and then the box. I'm curious to know what the box is. Let's see what this is. To tear it apart, get the book out. What is this? Oh, okay, great. We saw this already. This is the finished copy. This is due any day. This is due next Tuesday. Of Steve Kavanaugh's The Plea. I think you remember, I read the description of this, and it was, when billionaire David Child is arrested for the murder of his girlfriend, the FBI believes his apprehension could take down a huge money laundering scheme. But first, in return for a reduced sentence, David has to agree to testify. Con artist turned lawyer Eddie Flynn is given the job. Persuade David to plead guilty and give the agents the evidence they need. If Eddie can't get David to take the plea bargain, the FBI has incriminating files on Eddie's wife, then they will send her to jail. So he has a supreme motivation to get the plea that he needs. Wonderful. That's a kind of a stylish thing too, isn't it? It kind of looks good. And did I mention already? This comes out this month, so the middle of this month. Great. Fantastic. So that's a finished copy of that. It looks a lot better than the advanced copy. And then we have the box. We'll see what this thing is. What could it be? It's big, but it's as light as a feather. So I'm thinking it's got to be only one book. What's this? Okay, I have no idea why this couldn't have been put in an envelope, but it's better than a book. It's their spring catalog. The spring catalog for Zondervan, which is a religious publisher that I just love. They do such good work. I mean, a large part of what they do is literally preaching to the choir. A large part of what they publish is for believing Christians who want books written couched in that presupposition. But a large part of what they write is not that. A large part of what they write is Christian scholarship. And that, I just can't get enough of it. So let's see. See, something like this, resourcing theological anthropology, will be both maddening and interesting because they'll have the best people on contract, but some of them will be writing books that are non-starters for me. I mean, there's no such thing as Christian anthropology. There's just anthropology, and it doesn't really back up Christianity. So a book that may, I don't know this one at all, but if it may argue for that, then it's clearly not intended for me any more than, for instance, this catalog could easily have books on creationism. And creationism isn't true. Nothing in the natural world was created by magic. So they won't be for me. And you know, part of me is okay with that. Of course, it takes all types to make a reading public. But another part of me, Zondervan has a huge power in the industry. Another part of me isn't okay with it because creationism is demonstrably false. And if you're a respected publisher and you're putting out books to an audience saying that it's not, stuff like that, I don't know if there'll be any books in here like that. It can be a little dicey for me. But see, here in the theology section, with things like 5 views on the extent of atonement or 4 views on the church's mission, I eat that stuff up. Absolutely eat it up. Those are the kinds of books that are done by believing Christians with scrupulous scholarship. And I can't stand, I know I bash on them all the time. I can't stand it when the so-called new atheists imply that a fervent belief in Christianity negates scrupulous scholarship, that if you have the one, you can't have the other. I know that's not true. I could demonstrate it in a million different ways, and the catalog of this will be full of books that illustrate that. Wow, fantastic. Okay. So we have the soft cover of Katie Luther, that biography from last year of Martin Luther's wife. Soft cover of the book Was the Reformation a Mistake? Which I saw it when it came out, and I was tempted to review it But I would have been a brat. I wouldn't have been able to control myself. I would have listed the book, Was the Reformation a Mistake? And my review would have consisted of the single word yes. So that won't do. You have to control that. Especially since at Open Letters Review, I'm largely operating on a clear field, so I have to be extra cautious about my own worst impulses. The Problem of God in paperback by Mark Clark. That was an interesting book. Apologetics on the Cross. Lots and lots of audio. Well, it makes sense. They do lots and lots of audio. More and more. So we get into textbooks. But then in the New Testament section, we have Introducing Jesus, a short guide to the Gospel's history and message. We have Reading Mark in context. Always fascinating. Mark's not my favorite Gospel, but I love reading stuff like that. And then a whole Zondervan, a whole section on Greek. Wonderful. And then big surveys of the Old Testament that I think I got a couple of them on this channel, and I've been poring over them. They're so good. For catnip for me, just catnip for me. I absolutely love reading about and studying Christianity. I just love it. And is that about it for the Zondervan catalog? Okay, yes. So, and then the finisher here is a book. I don't see the date on it, but it's called Evangelism in a Skeptical World: How to Make the Unbelievable News About Jesus More Believable. Stuff like that. I will see if they'll send it to me, because I would love to read it. Great. Okay, so that was the box, a catalog for Zondervan. All right, so we've got I won't put the catalog in the Seed Pyramid, because it's going to be tricky enough as it is. So we've got The Plea by Steve Kavanaugh, and then let's see here, The Price of Aid, two copies of The Price of Aid. Then Law and Legitimacy in the Supreme Court, which it really tugs at me, and it has a short publication date, so I could legitimately bump it to the front of the queue, and I might do that. Then Chefs, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, about the history of American fine cuisine. The Rise of Rome. Let's see here. The new Chuck Palahniuk, what is it called? Adjustment Day. Then Shadowplay, a reprint, a revised edition of the definitive work on the assassination of RFK. Then Chernobyl, which will almost certainly be itself definitive, a history of the world's worst nuclear disaster. A new biography of George Sand. A book on bees called Buzz. And Things That Bother Me, a collection of essays by a guy who is extravagantly praised by the people who know him. So that plus the Zondervan catalogs. So there you go. That was a nice big mail haul. It will keep me busy for a while. And I'll sign off for now, but I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.